I'm Keith, and I'm here at the National Gallery of Victoria to look at the art of portraiture. We're going to look at a variety of portraits and think about what they say about the person who's being portrayed and the person who created it. Portraiture is a very old art practice. Mankind has been capturing the identity of people through drawings and sculptures for tens of thousands of years, and we're still creating portraits now. Portraits might be used for artworks, as memories, as a way of capturing moments in history, or simply just be a part of our everyday life. Various metals have been popular for casting and pressing into portraits. In fact, you might have a portrait in your pocket right now. For centuries, coins have been decorated with portraits of important people. Often, portraits on coins are in profile. That means they're side on. Portraits don't have to be of someone's face. They might be of a whole body, two or more people, even pets. You might find portraits in your home, but if you want to see several in one place to compare them, you're best to visit an art gallery. As you can imagine, the National Gallery of Victoria houses thousands of pieces of art, including many portraits, sculptures, and historical relics. Let's go and explore and discuss some specific elements of portraiture to help you identify what it would take to make your own portrait. Portraits serve different purposes. Rich landowners had their portraits painted to show their wealth and power. Some portraits celebrate wars or religious moments. Some were painted to remember loved ones, and some are plain old vanity. Let's look at a few different types of portraits found here and think about what purpose they serve. As we look, think about the materials the artist has used and what era the painting is from. Why has the artist chosen this background? And what clothing and facial expressions are the subject wearing? To understand an artwork, first we need to have a good close look at it. What do you see? Do these two women look like friends? What do their expressions say about their relationship? Do their clothes tell you? It was unusual to paint two figures from different classes in such an equal manner in 1906 when this was painted. Although their roles are very different, they have equal space in the frame. Even the title gives us a clue about the painter, George W. Lambert, and which person he likes best. By calling the portrait Lottie and a Lady, it makes me think Lambert had more empathy towards the servant Lottie than he did for the lady. This next portrait we'll look at is painted by Arthur Boyd. It's painted in the expressionist style, which does not aim to be realistic or true to life. Look at the colors used. Some aren't natural skin tones. Also, notice the size of his facial features. Are they in proportion? How has Arthur Boyd, the artist, used his brushstrokes to represent emotion? What do the colors and style of his clothes tell us? Can you guess which decade it was painted in by his appearance or clothes? It was painted in 1969. What kind of life do you think the subject, Joseph Brown, led? Amongst other things, he was an art collector. Try and search for an image of him and compare the two. The paintings we looked at had two dimensions, breadth and height. But this portrait is different because it has a third dimension, depth, which means we can walk around it. Who do you think this man is? Can you tell where he comes from? There are no clothes or background for clues this time, but he has lovely contrast detail on his face and shoulders. If you guessed he's Chinese, you're right. The artist is Arsian, who now lives in Sydney, but he reveals his Chinese heritage through a series of busts. What material do you think it's made from? If you change the material, how would that change the look and feel? Often, portrait subjects make eye contact with the viewer, but not in this case. How would you describe the expression on his face? Well, those three artworks are just a tiny look at some of the possibilities for making portraits. Which one of them did you like best, and why? How did they make you feel? Do you think you would like the person in the portrait if you met them? You can get inspiration for portraits from lots of places, perhaps just by looking in a mirror. Or think about who is interesting or important in your local community, such as the lollipop wardens or the principal. Perhaps you could invite them to sit for a portrait, make it part of an exhibition. Here's an exhibition that was staged at St. Joseph's School. It was called the Archies, after the famous Australian portrait competition, the Archibald Prize. Do you think they successfully captured a part of the subject's identity? Now it's time for you to have fun with your own portraiture and see if you can capture something unique about yourself or someone you know.